who's saying, no, 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 it's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
So which is it? Is it
Well, it's
3% or
neither.
94%?
It's really neither, and because the 94% figure that Susan B. Anthony's list uses also is misleading. You can't compare the abortion services to two other types of services that pregnant women receive through Planned Parenthood. Um, but we don't know how many pregnant women Planned Parenthood services every year or how many they refer to private providers for prenatal care because the organization does not report that information.
Well, how convenient.
I know. It works out really well for them, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, according to their facts, according to the
Mm-hmm.
facts that Planned Parenthood disseminates themselves, here's the breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
42% of what they do is STI or STD testing and treatment.
Right.
34% of what they do is contraception, which that actually surprises me that 34% of what they do is contraception. Did anybody tell Sandra Fluke that?
I don't think they did.
Okay, okay, I just wondered. Um, 11% dealt with other women's health services.
Mm-hmm.
9% dealt with cancer screenings and prevention. That'd be pap smears and mammograms and things like that. Although
Which
they
they
don't
do not do themselves. They refer them out.
they don't own a mammogram machine.
That's correct.
3% is abortion services and 1% is other services. Now that's what Planned Parenthood defines in their report, their annual report in 2013, 2014.
Yes.
And so they provided 10.6 million services. Pay attention to this, to 2.7 million clients.
Correct.
That's almost 5 services per client.
Per client. Mm-hmm.
So see, if you're counting it as services, I understand how they can make the numbers sound like, well, it's only 3%. By the way, if abortion was such a noble thing and such a good thing and they're protected by the law and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, why do they have to hide the fact that they do so many?
Isn't that a good question?
That just
Isn't
occurred
that a
to me.
good question?
I mean,
Yep.
if it's such a good, noble, right, proper thing, then why do you say it's only 3% of what we do? When any moron knows better.
Right. Absolutely.
So you come, and by the way, the average abortion in the first trimester cost about $1,500.
Mm.
The other services they provide are things like, oh, let's see, pregnancy tests. You can go to any drugstore, any Walmart, any Kmart, any Target, any Walgreens, any CVS, and purchase 2 pregnancy tests for $10.
That's right.
So, and those things are pretty accurate.
Yes, they are.
So you can go to, and they're including pregnancy testing as some of the things that they do.
Right.
Uh, and a lot of the other services that they provide, in fact, every other service that they provide is really lower in cost than the abortion services that they provide.
Well, the abortion services are their money makers.
Well, actually, it's their double money makers. They get a twofer
Sure.
out of abortions because they're able to charge for the abortion. Either the government or the client pays that fee, and then they sell the baby parts.
Right. Mm,
And
mm,
and
mm.
and and I their response to the videos on the parts, the fetal tissue
Mm-hmm.
was that it was not edited properly. And their response
Yes.
was they rushed to a judge and had him issue a restraining order on showing the video anymore.
Right. Right.
Because that's certainly transparent. It's certainly transparent when someone comes out and says, "Wait a minute, this is what you're doing." Oh, shh, 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 hush.
Yeah,
Don't
let's don't
talk
talk
about
about it.
that.
Mm-hmm. I know it. Well, you know what? Here's my take on this. Here's my take on this. I don't care whether it's 3% or whether it's 94%. Planned Parenthood
Yeah.
is the brainchild of Margaret Sanger, and what they're doing outside of actual health care, which as far as I can see is minimal, is just wrong. It's simply wrong. Abortion is not about health care. And to say that it is wrong as well.
That's right. You're absolutely correct in what you just said. Abortion is not about health care. It's actually about convenience.
That's right.
I don't want to have a baby. This is not a good time for me. I'm single or I've got other children and I don't want to fool with this. So let's just kill this child. Now,
That's right.
we don't even have this story in our list of stories we were going to talk about tonight, but you sent me a story just before we went on the air about
Mm-hmm.
an illegal immigrant in Florida
Yes, I did.
that killed his, was it his sister,
His cousin.
his cousin, her boyfriend, and his aunt, the cousin's mother.
Right.
But the cousin was pregnant,
Yes, she was.
and they're charging him with 4 murders. They're charging him with the murder of the cousin, the boyfriend, the aunt, and the unborn child.
That's right.
Now, I'm sorry, but I've been listening to this abortion debate from liberals and conservatives alike, particularly here since the story broke about the videos about selling fetal tissue. And over again, the left is saying that babies, fetuses, are not humans. They're not babies. They're not living beings, and so they can be aborted, and there should be no uh, conscience associated with that. But this illegal immigrant kills an unborn child, and they charge him with murder.
It's
And
only a
and
baby if you want it, Steve.
I guess that's right. Here's the other thing, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Here's the other thing that really puzzles me. We've got a rover on Mars right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's going all over Mars and looking at this and looking at that, and the pictures have been kind of interesting. I've looked at a lot of them. And if tomorrow they discovered a single cell of living matter on Mars, the world would respond. And I'm talking about a single cell. The world
Absolutely.
the world would respond, life on Mars. That would be the headline everywhere
Yes, it would.
for a single cell. And the scientists that also believe that abortion is okay would be saying that this single cell is life.
And the most out the most huge breakthrough in science since the Big Bang.
Yep. 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 That just the hypocrisy, the dichotomy of thought here
Yes.
blows me away. I actually heard someone today or this last week, and I don't remember who. I wish I could, because I would name their name. And they were on the 5 on Fox News. I was listening to a radio broadcast of that, and this person was a liberal, and she was arguing that fetal tissue is not human tissue, and that a fetus is not a human. and someone said, does a fetus feel pain? And she said no.
Mm.
And yet I've seen videos, I've seen medical videos of needles that have punctured a fetus and seen a fetus and seen that fetus recoil.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, why was that fetus recoiling if they don't feel pain?
They do feel pain.
They most certainly feel pain. My wife gave birth to 3 children, and we watched in wonder as all of those children lived inside of her and kicked and moved and squirmed and got the hiccups and
Hmm.
and did things that humans do. And to say that that is not a human being until that child is born. And in fact, President Obama believes that it's perfectly all right for a quote partial birth abortion. Now, what does that mean? Well, his definition, or the definition that I've read attributed to him, is that even if the child is completely out of the birth canal, but the umbilical cord and the placenta is still attached, that child has not been born yet, and that child can be aborted at that point. And he has voted, in fact, when he was in the Illinois legislature, one of the only things that he voted for, other than present, was for partial birth abortion.
That's correct.
Okay, now I'm just going to step in real quick. Now, what you said, Steve, if the baby is out of the birth canal, but as long as the umbilical cord is still attached, it's not alive.
Well, it's not it's still a fetus.
It's still a fetus, even though once it's out of the birth canal, it takes its first breath of air.
Yes, that's correct.
That's
correct.
Isn't that the life? I mean,
Well,
if you're breathing,
yes, yeah, I believe that it's life at conception. And
but
Dr.
generally
Dr. Gosnell would kill children as soon as they came out of the birth canal.
right. Generally, a partial birth abortion, they deliver the body, the head stays inside, and then they force forceps up into the mother, and then through the back of the neck into the brain, and they addle the brain.
Yes.
And then the baby is delivered. That's a true partial birth abortion. But now what Steve is talking about actually was when babies are born alive and they don't go and get help for these preborn babies who could survive if they were given help. They probably need to go to the NICU.
Yeah.
And have oxygen, because they're very small. A lot of these that would be preemies if they were wanted, and they would be given support. But if it's an aborted baby and it's born alive, what do you do with it? Well, in an abortion clinic, they stick it in a bucket and put it in a back room and let it die.
And let it die.
Or they cut it, or they take a pair of scissors and clip its spine at the neck.
Yep.
And President Obama voted that was just fine. That they do not warrant medical intervention.
Now,
they do not warrant medical intervention.
Now, this is the barbarism of abortion. I talked to a gentleman just this last week who years ago was a young man, practicing Muslim, living with his girlfriend. She got pregnant, and his first response when she told him that she was pregnant was, "We got to go take care of this," meaning we have to go get an abortion. They went to a clinic which made them, I don't know if it was because of the clinic or because of state law or whatever, but made them watch a video about the abortion process. And when he saw the video and saw these little fetuses with fingers and toes and eyes and perfectly formed, and then they saw that child mangled and cut to ribbons and pulled out in pieces, he turned to his girlfriend and said, "We're not doing this."